All right, let's see. Let's see what I got here. I haven't put on a new
Intro or anything?
intro in
Yeah.
forever. This is from the beach level
Yeah.
on Super Mario Wii.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 2G1C, and I'm sitting with my greatest homie of all time. I say this every episode.
Yeah.
But dude,
You
I
gotta
love
create
you,
a real
bro.
ranking.
Yeah, no. And you are totally up there, Joseph.
Sweet.
We're
we're in the top 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting with my friend, Joseph Dotson.
Yo.
If you guys have watched the show before, you've definitely seen him. But he's one of my favorite people ever, dude.
You're one of my favorite people ever.
I'm
This is so
serious,
fun.
bro. When I talk about people that I look up to, so I'll get breakfast with Ben Watterson,
Yep.
obviously the GOAT. But dude, I talk about your one-liners and just you're the best, bro.
Dude.
And I'm so glad that we're doing this,
You
dude.
need to know this is like an instant yes for me anytime you ask.
Dude.
That's how much fun I have because most people I don't enjoy.
See,
out
and
with
that just
enough to
shows,
do this.
and that just shows how low your bar is, bro.
No,
So
come
thank you,
on.
bro.
Yeah,
thank
dude,
you,
thank
Joseph, bro. You have been doing so much lately.
Sure.
First off, I saw that you ran a marathon.
Yeah.
How far is a marathon?
26.2 miles.
Dude,
it was nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I've never done distance running in my life. I was just I
Yeah.
played football, wrestled, and did some powerlifting stuff. So
Yeah.
to go from just yep, I'm gonna be a big guy who wants to be strong all the time to
Yeah.
we're gonna run 26.2 miles
Dude, that's
on a Saturday.
awesome. I can't even
It
believe
was
that, bro.
dude, it was a weird. Yeah, it was crazy. You can learn a lot from running a marathon.
So, what was your time? And
Yep.
would you say that's a respectable time?
So let me
in
tell
the-
you a story
in the
about
marathon
my
world?
marathon experience. You're
Yes.
gonna find this funny.
Yeah.
So I've always said I wanted to run a marathon at some point in my life.
Yeah.
Well, this was the year of killing bucket list. Jumped out of a plane this year.
Yes, bro.
And,
We did do that.
I decided to run a marathon and I did a couple other things, but so back in what would it have been? It would have been early in the summer. A buddy of mine was like, "I'm running the Akron Marathon." I said, "How far out is that?" And he said, like 3.5 months. And I was like, "How much time do you normally need to train?" He said, "About 4 months." I said, "So if I join now, can I just go for it?" He said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, all right, I guess I'm running a marathon." And so I started training, bought a nice pair of shoes, got after it, and I'm training consistently, not missing a run, not missing a long run, just every day at it. Run around our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we have a pretty hilly neighborhood, so it's not exactly an easy terrain, but
Yeah.
this is right where the race was. So start training all summer. I'm eyeballing it. I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. But I knew nothing about distance running. And there's all these little things that over time stack up. So for example,
Interesting, yeah.
everybody knows to buy good shoes, but
Yeah.
most people don't realize how important a good diet is, or how certain types of hydrate, it's just craziness that goes into running. So
I see.
training. About a month and a half out, I hurt my back. And
from running?
just in general, I
Okay.
was doing jujitsu and a guy picked me up, slammed me, and
That doesn't help, dude.
no, it doesn't help. So I couldn't run for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And when you're training for a marathon, you do these long runs every week. So
Yep.
early on, you're like, I'm doing a 5-mile long run this week, and then your other training, you might do a quarter of that or a third of that or whatever. And then you're after the next week, you're doing a 6-mile, then a 7, then an 8.
Yep.
And you need to build all the way up to about 20 miles. You'll never run the full marathon before you run the full marathon.
Really?
Yeah, but there's a wall you want to hit that happens at 20. Your body just so anyway, I hurt my back and I miss my 19 and I miss my 20. And those are two of the most important ones you can run.
I see, yes.
So I'm like, all right, fine. Let's just get after it. Let's see what happens. Try to do it a month out, adjust my training plan. Well, then I roll my ankle really bad and my Achilles starts to tighten up. That happens about 3 weeks out. So I'm going into this race. It got bad enough to where one morning, this is the week of the race. There was a morning, the week of the race. I get out of bed.
Yeah.
And my Achilles, which by the way, Kobe tore his Achilles and was not the same player ever again.
Yeah.
It's the worst injury that could probably happen to an athlete. So my Achilles is super tight. I can't even walk. If I step on it, I'm just falling over.
And you're I'm about to run.
I'm about to run a marathon that week.
Yeah.
And so I'm and I already paid the money. I'm not getting my money back. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do it no matter what. And The day before, it's tight, but I'm able to kind of like walk on it and jog on it a little bit. And I said, all right, if I can jog on it in the morning, I'll run in this marathon.
Yeah.
Back still hurts, Achilles hurts, whatever. Wake up in the morning. The race starts at like 5 a.m. because it's a pretty long race,
Yeah.
right? And so wake up, get to the line. I'm like, all right, it's tight. It doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
But I can jog, so I'm gonna run this marathon. And I come out of the gate, and I run the first, I don't know, quarter of it like pretty strong. Like I'm like keeping pace, whatever. I learned I totally mismanaged my diet and my water, so I'm like kind of cramping.
I see.
And
oh my
and
gosh,
my water,
dude.
I had so much water. I'm like going to the bathroom.
You're not even close to done.
Not even close to done, right? And so I break stride to go to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, let's just get back into it.
Yeah.
Well, the first half of the marathon is through downtown Akron, and people are all over the place. There's water stations everywhere, rest stops. People are cheering you on.
That's cool, actually.
It's actually awesome because it
Yeah.
keeps you encouraged for the
Yeah.
first half marathon. The problem is the second half is pretty much all through like sand run and like just
Yeah.
the parks essentially, and it goes from. And
It's a long race, dude.
it's a long race. So you do the whole, and so you take sand run. And here's the thing though, that second half of the marathon, now you just spent, and there's way less people around you
Yeah.
because all the half marathoners are out because they already finished.
Yeah.
And the relay runners are way ahead because they get a reset every 6 point something miles.
Yep.
So we get into the sand run area, and I had headphones in, and they're just bothering me because they've been on for 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
I take them out, and I'm like, so now it's just me and my body that's like breaking down on me,
And JC.
and JC, and we're just, and I'm like, all right, we just gotta lock in. And
Yeah.
so we start running through sand run. And I felt like I was in sand run for my whole life. Like it was just, I was there. And then you have to, the hardest mile of a marathon is 19 to 20. That's where you hit that wall I was talking about.
Is it back up the hill?
It's the big,
Because the parks are like down
yes.
in the valley
So
there.
19 to 20, the hardest mile of any marathon is up Sand Run Hill. And for those
dude.
listening, like if you've never been up Sand Run Hill, it's brutal. Like
It's incredibly severe.
It's very rough. And so I get to the top of this thing, and I'm like, just get over the hill, just get over the hill, just get over there. Well, because of my bum ankle, I'm favoring the other side, which meant my knee was starting to go, which then meant my hips were starting to go. So I get to the top of this thing, and I'm like crying because I'm in so much pain. I go for another 3.5 miles. I get to 23.5 miles.
Yeah.
Which I'm outside of Stan Hewitt, and
Yep.
I fall. Or no, I was outside of Portage Country Club.
Okay, yes.
And I fall straight down. Like I literally am just like, my body broke.
Yeah.
I'm calling people. I'm like, guys, I failed. Like I dropped. I'm sorry. I tried so hard. And my mom and my dad are like, we're coming to find you. Mind you, guys, like I won't say where I live. Avery knows. I am how far from Portage Country Club? 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they're gonna pick me up. We're gonna go home. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I tried. I'll do it next year. Well, they're walking towards me. My dad calls me. He goes, "You better keep walking. Your legs are gonna lock up." And I said, "Well, I'm like, it's over." He's like, "No, you're not. We're just gonna walk. Like, we're gonna get you to the end." Mind you, I hadn't walked an ounce this whole race. I had ran the whole time.
Yeah.
Most people take little walk breaks in the middle, and so they find me, and then they're like, "We're getting to the end." And so we walk probably the next 2, and then I ran the last bit. What's funny is there's a guy, these guys who come at the end of the race, and if you fall, normally you're like, I'm done, I'm out, And there's this back line of like cops essentially that just like help people get to the finish line, not to finish, but just to like get to their cars or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they had passed me. So the back of the race had passed me.
Mm-hmm.
There was one guy who works for the Akron Marathon. He comes around and he's like, "Are you finishing?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm finishing. Like, I'm running the race." And he goes, "Okay, let me drive up." So he drives to the finish line, tells them I'm finishing. So I get up there. He's like getting me water and whatever. I run the finish line. They put the medal on me. My mom comes, gives me a big hug. I'm celebrating with my dad. I ran a marathon. I almost didn't win. Like, almost didn't finish. and I turn around and they immediately tear down the finish line, which means I am the official last place finisher at the Akron Marathon. So it is nowhere but up from here.
Dude, I'm so proud of you, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think, it's cool to be first. It's equally cool in my mind to be
Dude,
last
are you
for
kidding
summer.
me, bro? Dude, I think that's awesome because I think like it's very obvious that you pushed yourself
To the absolute
to that
freaking
limit.
yeah.
And I do think that like, the fact that you're there, the bar is already so high. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like I
right.
feel like that's a fantastic thing. Dude, Joseph, that's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
I won't even say the time. Just know it was awful. And next year I'm gonna go in healthy and with a better mindset. And,
Yeah, that
and
helps.
I'm gonna win. Yeah, dude. If I had gone in with not
oh
like
my gosh.
what felt like a torn Achilles, I think we would have been a little better off. but-
Man, I can't even believe that. Dude,
Yeah, so it was fun.
I'm proud of you, and that's not me just saying that because like like I carry bags for a
Sure.
living, and I'm always on my feet, and I don't think it's ever to that degree, but like there are days when I'm out there and you're carrying bags, and like the pain in your feet, dude. And caddies will tell you this a time. There have been so many times where you just have to grit your teeth.
Yeah, and just keep
carry
going.
the bag, dude.
Dude, it's large. Do you know the hardest part? I worked a shift after that. I went to Starbucks and like pumped out another shift after that. I worked a 5-hour shift. Nobody wanted to cover me, so
Yeah.
I went. But
That's
yeah, dude, there's just
insane,
times
dude.
you gotta bite your lip and say this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know.
And you did that.
Yeah, if failure's not an option, then,
Dude, outside of finishing in last place,
Sure.
there's another area of life that you're absolutely winning in.
Yeah.
You and the girl are hanging out.
Yeah, I got the
which
lady.
is absolutely fantastic.
Dude, she's great, man.
She ain't from around here.
She's from around here,
Okay.
but would live in Nashville. So
I see.
it's
Sweet,
super fun.
dude. And like, where did you guys first meet? I want to know that story.
Yeah, so word of advice to all people. I would just do exactly what I did with a few slight differences.
Copy that.
All right, I walked into church.
Yeah.
I was working at the church. I was working services. I was working a Saturday night service.
Yeah.
And then I just met somebody who was the most Christ-like girl I could find. And I was like, I want to
like,
go
give me that.
go on a date with that girl.
Yeah.
The part I would change is we talked for like an hour. I got her number, or no,
Mhm.
I got her Instagram. And then after, I went to go watch some UFC fights with the buddies. And if you ever watch UFC fights,
Yes.
okay, like they go late. Like you're up till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think to text her until we left these UFC fights, which means at 1:30 in the morning, she gets a text from me that goes, "Hey, I had a great time talking to you. I'd love to get together sometime."
dude.
So she left me on open for 2 weeks. And,
What?
yeah. And then she got back to me, and we went out for coffee. And that was
Wow.
and then some stuff happened, and we had to put it on pause for a bit. But yeah, revisited back in the summer.
Now
And
you guys are hanging.
now we're in it.
Dude, the 1:30 text. That's like.
Dude, you want to know what's crazy? The second time I texted her to go out again, I did it again. There had been a multiple month break, and I did,
Oh my gosh.
and I was 2 for
She's
2.
Like, this is late, and this guy's like feeling lonely or
Yeah,
something.
I know. It's everything. It's like a Drake meme. You're like Drake, the type
Yeah.
of dude to send the 1:30 text. Like that's how I felt.
But it worked.
Dude, evidently
Ish.
it did. Ish. I know. I'd say it did. I'd
Yeah.
say it did. So she's great, man.
Dude, that's fantastic.
I'm
bro.
spoiled. You know.
Yeah, dude, and she'll be in town this
How'd you
weekend.
get yours? Have you told
okay.
this story on the podcast?
Okay, yes. So me and the missus, we're not married or anything.
Sure.
I just call her that. So I was at the gym. I've told this story before, but I haven't told it to this degree. And you're gonna think I'm a psychopath, and you're gonna think I'm lying, but this is nothing but the truth, bro. So at the YMCA, she was there working out, and I go in to work out, and I see her for the first time, and I'm just like, yo, like there's something over there that like is just fantastic. And so there's a part of the gym, I always jump rope. And so I go over to this part of the gym. It's like a little open area where you can like lay the yoga mat down and stretch or whatever. And I go over there and I jump rope. And she was over there, and I felt so called to like talk to her. And it was more than just like, she's mad fine. It was like, I feel like I'm like, I'm totally missing something.
Yeah.
And so I didn't talk to her the first time, and I thought she left. And I remember the feeling of like, it was more than just a lost opportunity. It was like something that God put on my heart that I just didn't follow through with.
Yeah.
And so luckily I'm working out and I'm looking in the mirror, and people can walk behind the mirror, like when you're walking through the gym, and I see her and I'm like hyped again. I'm like, all right, this is
time.
it. I'm not missing this again. So she's working, the mirror, it's like a hallway, and there are mirrors on both sides, okay? And there are benches on each side of the hallway. It's like a massive room, but it's like shaped like that. So people are walking back and forth. And so I'm on the benches on the one side, but I can look through the mirror and see her through the other mirror on the other side. Does that make sense? And so I go up to her, and she has this big bag on. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is the most random thing ever. I tried to get her attention because she had her like headphones on, and she wasn't responding. I was like
Just, like,
waving in her
waving at
face,
this
but she
girl,
wasn't
yeah.
like doing anything. So I was like tapping on her leg because I wanted to get her attention. She's like, "What are you doing?" And
Yeah,
I'm
right, you're like-
"Sorry, this is totally random. What on earth is in your gym bag?" Because like she's a real little small.
Yeah.
Like maybe 110 pounds, like
Got
soaking
it.
wet. And so her bag was just gigantic.
Nice.
And I was like, "What's in your bag?" And she's like, "Oh, my gym stuff." And so the college she goes to, it was on the bag. And I was like, "Oh, are you in school or whatever?" And then we started talking about college and all this stuff. And so I get her Instagram. And so I DM her I'm like, for the life of me, this is me trying to be smooth and stupid. I was like, for the life of me, I'm still wondering what's in your gym bag. And she's like, what do you think is in there? Well, she goes to a school in Indiana.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I mean, things that are popular in Indiana, I feel like there's a bunch of like corn and like soybeans in your bag. And she thought that was really funny.
That's great.
And then, I asked her to get dinner, and this was a mistake on my part. Anyone who's listening, don't go out for dinner first.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's a lot.
Coffee.
The coffee thing. And I was like, hey, we should get dinner. Looking back on that, I'm like, you're such an idiot. Why don't you just go for the coffee thing or go for a walk? She's like,
It worked, I guess.
she's like, I think that's a lot, but we should get coffee first.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And so we went and got coffee. And so
Good on her for calling it out, though.
yeah, on our first date, I got like hot coffee. I drank my coffee black. It's
Nice.
not even like an ego thing. I prefer
No, I'm the
it
same
that
way,
bro.
yeah.
And so I'm drinking this coffee, and we're talking, and I drink so much of it way too fast that it burns my tongue so bad, dude. Like, how you
just
were
cooked.
like, how you were suffering to get through the marathon. I was suffering to get through this date, dude. Like my mouth was hurting.
You
so
have like
bad.
the hurting face, and she's like, "Is he hating
Well,
this?"
see,
It's like, "What's going on?"
I'm
here?"
also like a Giga Chad stud, so
Yeah, that's
you know what I
true.
mean. So like, she had no idea.
She had zero
but deep
clue.
down, like I was fighting. I was fighting to be normal, and she said that she had no idea. But
Wow.
this is the part I wanted to get around to is when I first saw her, along with like just feeling so called. I just like saw her. She was wearing this white top and black pants and black shoes, and I just like, I had this vision. You're gonna think I'm a psychopath, dude. Of like, I could just see her as like a wife. And I know that's like wild, and I've never told anyone this except her, but like, I just like saw like a wife.
It's great. That's awesome.
Like, when you see girls and you're like, she's very pretty, but like, that's it.
Sure.
I could just like sense like the demeanor and everything, just
Yeah,
like a
something different.
strong wife figure.
It's awesome.
And I just felt called to go talk
so
to
good.
her, and we've been together. It feels like forever, but it's only been like 4.5 months.
Yeah.
Something like that, dude. But she is fantastic, bro.
Dude,
And
that's
so,
so good.
the first thing I wanted to ask you about, kind of in this episode,
Yeah.
for me, I'm sure you've heard this before, is why would God trust you with one of his daughters if you don't,
Sure.
if he doesn't think that you're able to handle it? And so for me, last Florida, my faith was so strong, and I kind of went through a transformation that God truly was the center of my life going forward, and then he blessed me with her. For you, was there any kind of thing that took place, or like, was the timing oddly specific or oddly convenient in that sense?
Sure.
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're not married, so I gotta be careful how presumptive I get, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think comparatively, like we went on our first date at a time where the Lord was giving me a lot of clarity on like where I was going next,
Yeah.
and giving me a semblance of like the kinds of people and relationships I needed in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And somebody who I could like, you know, it's interesting. So like working in a church in ministry, you just face unique difficulties. Everybody's got hard jobs, right? Nobody's got an easy job, but there's different difficulties that face kind of what I do.
Yeah.
And so it takes a very unique kind of person to partner with, you know, in doing that. And, you know, I met her, and I it's interesting you use the like, felt like I just like imagined her as a wife thing. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I would say it like, I met this girl and I just was like, she's the new standard, you know, where I'm like,
That's fire, bro.
everybody was just like compared off of her, you know? And,
yes, dude. I do get that.
so then, what was interesting is like, like I said, there was a break before we really like started dating. And when it all worked back to us, like actually being able to date and go out and spend a lot of our time together and start building a relationship, it was right when I needed it to be. It was right in a busy, hard, heavy season. But she's like the perfect complement in some ways. Again, like obviously within reason, you know, I hope we have a certain kind of future. I can't control anything, but like, it's cool. Like I am somebody who lives in the clouds a bit. I see everything from 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
And I can figure out the details. She's somebody who's like, I mean, she's an accountant, so she's like super detail oriented.
Yes, bro.
But can figure out the stuff that's in the clouds. And so
Yes.
I feel like we make a really good team in that sense. And so I just feel like, you know, whether she's the one or not, that's a different thing. But, you know, obviously I have my hopes and my beliefs. But without being presumptive, I'm like, man, I got a good teammate at the right time.
Yeah.
And, you know, the hard part is, this is where you got to walk a tension of it, right? Like, I think the tension a lot of people feel is they're like, I got a good one. I need to hold on to it with everything I got. Because it's because of what you were saying, right? You're like, why would God trust me with one of his daughters? And that statement alone comes with like a pressure to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a high weight thing to say. Interestingly, when you look at like Jesus and how he talks about like our life, he's like, those who try to keep their life will lose it. Those who give their life away will gain it. And I think about that with relationships too, where I'm like, this is why like people might listen to me and be like, is he defeatist? Like, why is he saying like without being, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not that I don't have a belief we're moving in a certain direction. I wouldn't be in a relationship if I didn't. I have to be okay with the fact though that like God gives and he takes away. And if I'm tight-fisted on this thing he gave me and I burden myself with it, I'll actually destroy it.
Yeah.
So I need to be open-handed and be like, God, thank you for this. How do I just like honor and respect and love this person you've brought into my life right now?
Yeah.
And that comes with a cost, but it comes with greater reward of like a really fulfilling relationship with another human.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not just like significant other. That's like any friendship. You know, like
I think with anything in life.
anything,
Dude.
you just don't hold on too tightly and look to steward it and love it and foster it and see what happens.
You know, I remember this moment vividly of one of the things that you talked about in Key West, of like, where does success in life come from, and like where do you like how do you get to where you want to be? And you were like, you literally ripped it right out of my own book. Is you're like, dude, with all things in life and like golf, if you just grip the club a little easier and you don't squeeze as tight, things just start to fall into place. And I think you're spot on, dude. I think with me and mine, I think one of the things that I've learned is not only am I the best man that I've ever been going into this, but also like my job is to love her a lot and be there for her a lot and do those things for her a lot. And so, you know, in past relationships that I've been in, you know, there are things that you can say that you can never take back.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned those lessons from my past things. And so with her, you know, I think you're spot on of, you know, with me, you know, obviously, like, instead of trying to fix everything,
Sure.
instead of going into something and being like, I'm going to fix this into exactly what I
Mm-hmm.
want, right? I'm going to let God shape it and take it where he wants.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, I remember in past relationships I was in, I was so upset. I wasn't being treated a certain way, or like it
Mhm.
wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go in. But I do think that, like, one, if you want someone to, like, be your partner and to truly, 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 like, help you, I think there has to be a level of self-assurance that comes from Christ
Mhm.
that you kind of have to have, if you're kind of following what I'm saying. And then also, it's like, you know, maybe every little thing isn't going to be exactly how I want it,
Mhm.
but that's not where the beauty is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, if everything was like, I mean, we're broken people, right? So, like, if everything was exactly how we wanted it to be, it would be broken, right? So,
Yeah.
there's like that. There's like that part. But also, you're right. Like, there has to be a security that you have apart from a person.
Yes.
If to like, you have to be totally. This is, and again, it seems so backwards, right? But to be like, I would be totally okay if me and this person never met.
Yeah.
I like at the end of the day, I'd still follow Jesus.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'd still become the man he wants me to become. And if I'm lucky enough to get to do that with another person, that's cool. Like that's
Yeah.
really fun, and that's a gift, and that's part of him forming us into who he wants us to be.
Yeah.
But like, we need to be confident that we can be who we are apart from that. And then like also, like anything, like I think the other thing I just see so much of is like people just go like Mach 10, like right off rip. You know, you're like,
Mhm.
we're together, now we're married, and it's been 2 months. And you're like, dude, deep breath, bro. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy and like cultivate. That's the word I've been thinking a lot about lately, where like,
Yes.
you're a farmer, you know, plant a seed, water it every day,
Mhm.
let it sprout, water it every day, let it grow, let it hit some sun, water it every day, and do your part. But don't expect you're going to get a tree overnight.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to have the relationship of the married couple that's been together 40 years and knows everything about each other.
Correct.
And if you try to speed run it, you're going to break it.
Yeah.
So, like, just let it grow. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's...
No, I think that's fantastic. I'm a Mach 10 guy, I will
Yeah.
say. And I think God has taken care of me in this sense of we are not neighbors right now. She lives 4 hours away, which kind of forces that,
I'm similar. That's
you know,
yeah.
kind of like,
Dude, it's a buffer.
yes.
You know?
Yes. And it's such a fantastic filter for what our
Mhm.
relationship truly is.
Sure.
Because when we're apart from each other and we talk on the phone, all we have, we're not even in front of each other.
All you can do is communicate.
All we have is the communication.
Mhm.
And I think like long distance, if you can get through that kind of thing, what an incredible tell to what the rest of your life together
Yeah, what your relationship
would
actually
look like.
is.
And like you said, you know, not that, you know, you can shake the 8 ball and see what's going on, but you know, I do think that just everything in my life with her,
Yeah.
it's very convenient, the timing.
It's great.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, dude.
Just keep
yeah,
doing
dude.
it, bro. It's good.
This year for me, it was a big bucket list year as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, me and you did go skydiving.
It was awesome.
It was fantastic. And I want to apologize because for the first half of us getting there, I was like tweaking out because I was so nervous, and I want to apologize.
No,
to
bro,
you,
I knew we were both nervous.
Because, like, dude, don't get me wrong, my faith in God's pretty good, but like
Jumping
when
out
you're
of a
about
plane
to
is
fall out of
crazy.
the plane, dude, there's a moment where you have to trust the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just like, well,
Like you literally have to. You literally have to.
my God, if I die, that's on me.
Like-
but if I live,
Like
it's
if I
on
die,
you.
like, you know, please let me go upstairs and we can talk at the gate and we can see what's going on. But like, dude, so thank you for like sticking with me,
Dude,
bro.
that was a blast. We
we
got to run it back.
Dude, 1,000,000%, bro. 1,000,000%. But also how you ran your marathon. I went and did 2 14ers in Colorado,
Nice.
2 peaks over 14,000 feet. And it was easily one of the hardest things I've physically done
That's
in my life.
crazy.
Like when you're up there, bro.
I was like, tell me about this.
So they talk about and being in Colorado. Denver is about 6,000, 7,000 feet, okay,
Which is-
above
yeah,
sea level,
which is crazy.
very, very, very significant. And when you first get there and you get off the plane, you can tell there's something going on, that it's more difficult to breathe and all that
Right.
stuff. So we structured our trip. So there were 2 14ers that we wanted to do. First one that we did is Mount Bierstadt, and then the second one is Quandary Peak. Quandary Peak is a dig. That was difficult. But the first day of our trip, we went to this national park. It was called Garden of the Gods, and it was a good 7-mile
I've
loop,
heard good about that.
just to get acclimated and to see
Yeah.
what was going on, which was absolutely fantastic, because they say when you first get there, you need at least a full 36 hours to get acclimated to the oxygen stuff and all that. Mount Bierstadt was the first one that we did. People will say that that's the easiest 14er, but that's like saying, I don't even know.
Yeah.
They're
not
all
easy.
difficult.
Yeah.
They're all difficult, dude. So we're on the way up, and there were people that we passed on the way up that start to get altitude sickness.
Oh, sure.
That just stop and cannot go anymore because they're dizzy and they're throwing up and whatever.
Wow.
So,
Did you get any?
No, I didn't, because I really do think this is a gift from God. Our friend Arturo,
Okay.
we called him A, okay? We meet him at the trailhead, and we've never met before, but he came over and offered us a sandwich, which was wow, he's from Miami. And so he was like, do you guys want to do it together? We're like, sure, whatever, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And I took the tripod and I was setting up the camera and getting angles of us going up, but he paced us the whole way up, because like I said, dude, I'm a Mach 10 guy. I would have just kept going and going and going, and that's the way that you get sick. And so he was very much a blessing in pacing us through these
Wow.
climbs.
So you have to slow it down to actually get there where you want to
Yes,
get.
bro.
That's good.
Exactly, dude.
That's really
so
cool.
we did Mount Bierstadt, which was fantastic, dude. And then the next day, he just kind of stuck with us. So so we did Quandary Peak together, and then the third day, I saw a show at the Red Rock Amphitheater. It's a music.
That's classic.
A music venue, and it was fantastic, dude. So we saw Logic at the Red Rock Amphitheater, which was incredible.
That's
dude.
awesome.
What a incredible trip. And so the one thing I wanted to talk about, I know that I mentioned it, a little bit before we started, but there was something that happened at the Red Rock that I felt weird about, but I was I don't know. So Logic was there. The other artist to perform was Oliver Tree. Okay, I love Logic, dude. He's my guy, and that's the reason I went. But obviously Oliver Tree is performing, so you're sitting through the performance.
Sure.
And so you've been to a concert, and so when people, right before they come out, the big intro video for them plays, right? And so with there was a lot of stuff in there that mocked Christ. It was like him on some cross. It was like him at the Last Supper. It was like your Lord and Savior was born in 1993, and all this stuff. And I was very, very, very put off by that, because I didn't know that this was kind of
part
his
of his thing.
And so his whole thing, and he gave this kind of monologue at the end, a lot of his anthems and songs are about being ugly and being broken and being all that stuff. And there's thousands of people in this venue singing these anthems about being broken and not whatever, and how it's okay.
Sure.
And at the end, he's like, my whole life I was called ugly, and I was ridiculed, and I was mocked, but it's okay. Obviously, he was a lot more vulgar than I was there.
Right.
But one of the things I thought about was that's what we do at church. Hear me out. Is we accept that we're broken, and we sing these anthems about being broken. But where I found so much acceptance in Christ, these people find so much acceptance in him and his message. And the fact that he's claiming to be some savior or whatever, really freaked me out. And I did not vibe with that at all. And the visuals were very satanic and just worldly, crazy. Just gross. But I was like, this is what Christ offers, except it's better. Hear me out. Instead of just a resolution that it's okay, Christ saves.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be broken, but Christ saves.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many people that find their calling or find their niche or find their whatever in something like that here on earth. I'm going to call them a like idol and a like idol here on earth. And like, I kind of asked you the question a little bit before. I was like, why don't all these people just come to Christ? And like, I guess, I don't know, you can do your like Joseph thing or whatever, but like, I don't understand. Like, I wonder if like the forefront, like the message that I'm putting most is like, it's okay to be broken because Christ saves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
and that's like Oliver Tree's whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, like, am I doing my best to represent that sorry, excuse me, my stutter, that message to other people?
Yeah.
And I guess, like, where do you think the disconnect is? Like, why do you think people love the whole, you know what I mean, Oliver Tree
broken.
thing?
Yeah,
and if
yeah,
you
yeah.
have any questions and stuff, like, please
No,
ask.
that makes
but,
a ton
like,
of sense.
I
I
was
have
just like,
seen.
yeah,
Well, it's interesting. Like Oliver Tree. I mean, like what you just described is a very pointed example of something that, like, you can go bigger than just Oliver Tree. Like, I mean, do you follow Noah Khan like on Instagram? Have you ever like looked at his Instagram page?
Noah Khan.
Noah Khan.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
One of the caddies at Calusa caddied for Noah Khan, and he was on the
That's cool.
Instagram. Random
crazy.
shout out, Yusuf.
If you look at Noah Khan's Instagram,
Yeah.
like his whole joke is like, my music is for depressed people. And then you like look at most rap music and it's for angry people. And you
Yeah.
look at most blah blah blah. There's just like we make sad, depressing, angry, kind of broken music for
Yeah.
broken people. Here's why though. And here's why I think what you're saying, like with the difference between that and the message of Christ, and then why there's a disconnect is there. Firstly, human beings love two things more than they love anything else. The first thing they love is themselves.
Yeah.
And secondly, what they love most is comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the reality. While you and I now on the other side of knowing Jesus know it's the most comforting place you could ever be,
Yeah.
people don't believe that, because the message of Jesus is lay down your life and follow me.
I see.
Like the reality of following Jesus is some of the things that you find comfort in you'll have to give them up. Before I knew Jesus, like I partied all the time. I liked certain kinds of drugs. I liked certain kinds of women. I had to give those things up to really follow Jesus. I had to give up some things that made me comfortable.
Yeah.
So there's like that part, right? We love comfort, so we're not going to willingly give away the things that in a broken world have been the only source of comfort we've found. Especially if we don't. Interesting is the step of faith is you don't really know that Jesus is going to bring you true comfort until you do it.
Yeah.
And that's the step of faith, right? The other side is human beings love themselves. So any message that says to put yourself second, to put yourself last, to put yourself in any other spot but the center of the universe is unappealing.
Yeah.
And the message of Jesus is that you aren't at the center of the universe, that God is the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And that your life revolves around him. And the reality is when we sing music that talks about how sad we are, how broken we are, how angry we are, it's kind of like a worship song to ourselves to say, look at me, I'm the center of the world, and the world knows how I feel.
I see.
And when we sing a worship song, we're saying we are broken, but look to the one who's perfect, who's holy, and who's going to bring healing and redemption to the world around us.
See.
So while all of us experience brokenness, some of us, it's a hard truth, don't actually want hope, because hope would cost us something.
Yeah.
But those of us who've counted the cost realize that, man, it's worth giving up everything. And it means having the life we were made for, and then trusting, once you begin to experience that, you know that when Jesus comes back, everything is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter and I'd say this lightly, it doesn't really matter how angry or depressed or whatever I get, because in the end, it's going to all be okay anyways.
Yeah.
But I think in a lot of ways, concerts can be the worship service of the world around us, because
Yeah.
it just puts you in the middle of the worship service rather than the one who deserves to be there. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of like what, I think Logic is great, and I think his message is great, and he doesn't claim to be anything, and he doesn't claim to be. Obviously, if I could sit down with him and have a conversation about some certain things, I would.
Yeah.
But there was another act that went on before Oliver Tree, and it wasn't like a singer performer. It was like a DJ, and these guys were called Supercomputer, and their thing was cool. They had like a TV on their head, and the thing that played on the big screen played on their. But I've noticed that like so much of what is big and popular now, it doesn't even have to make you feel good. It has to make you feel something. Okay. Some of the things they like played on their screen were like very disturbing. And I was like freaking out.
Yeah.
Like there was like a small second where I'm like, should I leave before Logic comes out? Because I'm not comfortable. It was like a bunch of like Sonic the Hedgehog dank meme, but it took it and it twisted it into this like gross, terrifying looking 3D unorthodox figure that was just disgusting and gross. And people were like loving it. They were like cheering for it.
Just all in on
they
it.
were like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And this takes me back to something my friend told me. My buddy that I told you about, kind of, upstairs. And I've talked about this a lot on the podcast. Not anyone specific. I mean, it is, but there are so many people that are suffering with so many things, and this person was one of them. And he told my buddy, he's like, because he would drink and he would gamble and he would do all these things, and he goes, I don't care if I feel good. I just want to feel something different than how I feel right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like when you see things that are popular because people rage bait or they do whatever, like it's not even about doing something good anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the early stages of the internet was all like nice, funny cat videos.
Sure.
And there wasn't like any rage baiting. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now it's like,
Or if it was like super under the radar.
yeah, exactly. And it's like now that's like all you see, bro. And so one of the things I wanted to kind of point out, and we can get into this a little bit too, is I think most popular things with humans, whether it's music, whether it's movies or whatever, takes something away that Christ invented first.
Sure.
Hear me out, okay? And we'll start with these examples, and then maybe you can do your Joseph thing and kind of give some like deeper stuff like that. Marvel superheroes. Endgame was fantastic, and I cried so hard.
All right.
Because Tony Stark died and he gave
Spoiler.
his life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
James Bond, the new one, was fantastic because he died and he gave his life for what he truly cared about. Right? And I think a lot of the narratives that make some of these movies so popular, apart from some of the new ones like the A24 films, like Midsummer, that just like are some of that like brain rot stuff that just, you know what I mean, is supposed to make you feel something. A lot of the narratives are pulled from things that Christ did first.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Oh,
people like talk about how like, this was the first to do whatever, this is the first to like do whatever. I really do think that whether it's for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, everything was pulled from the book.
Sure.
Or like they're similar to like narratives and stories that have been in the Bible before. Have you kind of like seen that?
Oh, dude, I was just talking about this with some of for the ministry I lead, the leaders of that today, about, it's easy to forget that, like, the Bible happened and is happening, and the story of it is woven into the world we live in today.
Yeah.
The story that God made everything perfect. Human beings, we broke it, but because God loves us so much, he came to the world, and despite not deserving to die, died a horrible, awful death, so that those who chose to run from him could come back to him. And one day, and then when he rose from the dead, that was his promise that one day he's going to make all things right in the end. The story of sacrifice for something you love that is not as it should have been is at the core of any compelling story.
Yeah.
And it's because it's woven into the world around us that internally it's what we yearn for. And until we realize that, like, that has played out in Jesus, we will make media to let it play out in.
Yeah.
That's why Harry Potter's so compelling.
Yep.
You know, you use Marvel and, you know, DC has versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, like, pop culture exists in general. It's whichever version of the gospel
I see.
we have latched onto most because it resonates internally with us the most. The reality is, though, anything we latch ourselves onto that is telling a version of the gospel will still leave us feeling incomplete, because what we actually need is the true gospel of what happens with Jesus. So,
Yeah.
I think it happens all over the place, and I think whether we realize it or not, we are way less creative creatures than we like to give ourselves
Yeah.
credit for, and we come back to the same 6 tropes anyways.
Yeah.
So, dude,
Yeah.
I think you're spot on.
You know, and that's kind of what I was getting at with, like, the, you know, the Oliver Tree thing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Is I do think the things that they offer,
Mm-hmm.
like, are not original.
No,
You know what I mean?
not at all.
Like, to come out and say, like, it's okay to be ugly, and it's
Yeah.
okay to whatever, and it's okay. You know what I mean? Because I was critiqued, and look where I am now.
Mhm.
All that stuff. It's like,
Okay.
it's like, dude, like, you know when Soulja Boy is on the Breakfast Club and he's like, he stole my whole flow, bar for bar, like, you know, they say, you know, imitation is the best form of flattery, but, like,
Yeah.
if I was Jesus, I'd be like,
Dog, just come to me.
like, yeah, like, what are you doing, bro? You know what I mean? And I think,
thankfully he's got so much grace for us too, right? Where he's not hypercritical, but I do imagine it breaks his heart, right? That
Yeah.
he's like, I want my kids back.
Yeah.
And, like, you guys want to be back, you just don't know it.
yeah, dude, exactly, bro. I think there's so many people that want what Christ has to offer, but a lie has been told about how you get there or what that looks like and all that stuff. And so, kind of after the concert, you know, I prayed for Oliver Tree, and I prayed that, like, you know, obviously God is never finished and stuff. You know what I mean? But
good.
one of the things that I've been thinking about so much lately, so much, is there's a lot of people in my life that I love and revere and care about so much, but it's like, they're awesome. They're awesome, and they're good. They're good in the secular sense, but they haven't given their life to Christ. And after these 80 years on earth, I don't want to be upstairs looking through the window being like,
Where they at?
that's what I'm saying, dude. And it's like, so much of where my mind has been lately is like, I want to save so many people.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of like with the, you know, example. And I talked about this on the podcast, you know, that I gave upstairs, giving opportunity. Not to say that I can save anyone
Sure.
and all that stuff. And one of the things that I've kind of learned is with the people that's closest to me that I've tried to give opportunity and I've tried to help, you can only want something so much for someone.
Yeah, they have to want it
But
themselves.
they have to want it for themselves. And so, you know, one of the things that I've kind of talked to, you know, a couple people about is, you know, like, my girlfriend's roommate. I asked her about it, and she said, like, the very best way for you to spread the gospel in your own life is you have to live it out in every last moment. Because if someone sees it, you know what I'm saying, and they see how, like, happy you are, and they see all that stuff, and they see how joyful you are, that says something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that comes from somewhere. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you is, you know, one, you know, like, how do you approach those situations in your own life? And two, it's like, what do you think the line should be for me to just let them do their own thing?
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a couple things. One, I think your girlfriend's roommate's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think, here's what I'll say. We as a culture have sometimes given ourselves a pass that I don't think the Bible gives to not share the message of Jesus with people, and we justify it because of how our lives look. And we're like, I live the gospel so people will understand it. And I'm like, right. I know a lot of really nice people who I don't know if they follow Jesus or not.
Yeah.
There comes a point where I'm like, I think what living the gospel does is gives you credibility and integrity to stand on. And so when you say you should follow Jesus, like you need Jesus,
Yeah.
people can go, they don't have anything to throw back in your face. You know, they can't go, well, you lie, cheat, steal, and blah, blah, blah. That you go, my life's been changed by Jesus. And all that joy and stuff you see, that's because of Jesus. And,
I see.
And so, like, if they don't know why, they're never going to be able to share it themselves. They're just going to go, that's cool that they're happy.
Yeah.
People are way too selfish to get that curious.
Yeah.
We have to say, like, Jesus is the answer to your life, you know?
Yeah.
So that's like my one critique is I'm like, we can't just live it. We have to speak it, you
Okay.
know? But further than that, what's the line before we let people walk away? Well, there's a couple steps. One, you know, there's two potential, like, I think there's more, but these are two things I see, and I'm like, okay, let's be careful of that. One is we cut it too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus says at one point he sends out 72 of his followers to go reach the local towns, and he goes, if nobody will welcome you, dust off your sandals and go to the next town. Like, don't waste your time there.
Yeah.
The other side is there's a group of people that waits too long. And so like there's one side that says, well, Jesus says dust off my sandals, so they leave like the second something discouraging happens.
Yeah.
There's another group that goes, I know they've been so resistant, but like I got to keep fighting. I love these people.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those are, I don't want to say wrong because that's not right. I think it's foolish. I think we need discernment when it comes to the people in our lives. And
I'm really stupid. What is discernment?
Discernment. Yep. It's parsing out what's the right thing to do. And so it's like sometimes we want to moralize things. We want to say this is right, that's wrong. And that is not the answer to all things.
I see.
Some things are wise and some things are foolish. And to figure out what is wise and what is foolish, it requires discernment.
Yes.
Is it the right thing at the right time, the right way? And so I would say a lot of that comes from prayer. Like I've found I don't have a principle of like, this is when...
Like there's not like a 3-strike rule where like if
Correct.
someone does this, then I'm done with them.
No, yeah, 3 strikes exist in baseball, but not in spirituality,
Yes.
right? And so we have to like, and in our humanness, we want a system. We are system creatures, you know, but there isn't one. And I would say, if you want like general wisdom on it, very high level, very case to case, I would share the gospel. And until somebody says, I don't want to hear about that anymore, I'd keep trying. If
you wanted to put any sort of rule or
correct
or
some
rhythm
guideline
on it at all.
That's like the loosest version of it is share it. And when they say, I literally don't want to hear that from you ever again, okay.
All right.
And fine, I've tried, you know, and at least you can say you've shared the gospel with them.
Yeah.
And I would rather, now this is my take, I would always rather overstep than understep. I would rather get to that point than go, ooh, I don't know that person anymore, and I missed my chance to really share Jesus with them.
Yes.
There's people in my life who I have remorse for because I know, at least for right now, they are not in my life like they were 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever.
Yep, same.
And I go, oh, I didn't know the opportunity I had to share Jesus with them.
I see.
And now that opportunity's gone. And I have to, now all I can do is pray somebody else does it. But we have to take ownership of our relationships and our time and make the most of our opportunities.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when those are gone.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen where the person who you wish you would have had the conversation with, like, you know, it's unfortunately people have misused what I'm about to say, but it is true where it's like, I've seen the situation where there's a person you want to share Jesus with and they pass away and you lose that opportunity and eternity strikes, you know? And so it's like, we have to strike first. We can't be reactive. We have to be proactive and go get it. And And if fear's the reason you're stopping, that's a bad reason.
Yeah.
Simply put.
You know, I think your method of like I'd rather overstep than understep. I think it's also important to know, and you can tell me if I'm full of it or what.
Hit
But
me.
I do think that obviously being Christ-like
Sure.
and keeping that at the forefront is also very important. You know what I mean? Because obviously we talked about this a bunch
Right.
last year of, someone that I knew that very much overstepped,
Right.
but wasn't Christ-like
Correct.
in that sense. You know what I'm saying? And not to throw stones because I am no saint, dog.
Right.
But, I think like first and foremost, or maybe they're both equally important of just understanding Christ's character fully.
Yeah, and it's about, like, this is the part that's hard, is the person you're talking about. I'm like, they were missing some of the character piece we were talking about, where you're like, man, you needed to see love and joy and peace in them that was not there.
Yeah.
There's a way, like, when I say overstep, I mean, I'm doing this with the most love and compassion and joy that I can.
Yeah.
And somebody will tell me I don't want to hear about that anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how kind I am.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if we're not sharing the gospel with people, we aren't being Christ-like.
Yep.
Because Jesus, one thing about him is the man never shied away from a handful of things. Who he was and what he came to do.
Yeah, that's true. He never tap danced around the issue.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
he just was like, this is what it is and this is what you need. And if we say like the loving, compassionate thing to do is not share Jesus, we've messed up what compassion and love is and substituted it for fear.
Yeah.
So
I think that's spot on. Kind of going along with what we just said. I want to preface this next statement with a very clear: what Jesus wants for your life is so different from what the secular world wants. Correct. Jesus and secular, they're not even on the same...
Oil and water.
Dude, they do not mix. I love that. This is what I want to say, is I check Facebook probably once a month because my mom posts stuff. Or, like, when you're just chilling and you want to check Facebook Marketplace?
Sometimes I'd be forgetting that when I post on Instagram, it posts on Facebook.
Really?
I totally forget about that.
I did not know that.
It does.
Or they have to be linked or something?
Yeah, if they're linked. If you have, like, the one Meta account. So every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, I've posted, like, 4 times and never been on Facebook. I know my poor grandma has commented 4 times. And she's like, why don't you like my comment?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't even know.
That's hilarious, dude. But I was doing my monthly Facebook check. And my grandmother, or not my grandmother, my Aunt Connie, we're kind of related. It's like one of those family members where you're like, I don't really know how we're related, but we always are there. And she's one of the grandmothers who likes if you love Jesus, you're gonna repost this.
Oh, okay.
And then she reposts all that stuff. And so one of the things that I saw was it talked about the devil and the devil's character. Okay, because I think as Christians that want to live a Christ-centered life, maybe it's not as important, but knowing Christ's character is incredibly important.
Yeah.
But I do think knowing the devil is very important as well, because there's a lot of things or morals or things that are very mainstream that may seem Christ-like.
Yeah.
May seem, obviously they're not, but at first glance. And the statement that I kind of wanted to make is the devil isn't a bad guy in the secular sense until now, I know that sounds horrible if you take it out of context and stuff, but one of the things that, you kind of brought up is there's a lot of great people that are very kind. There's a lot of people that are very kind to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That I care about, that don't know the Lord. Mm-hmm. And this thing on Facebook it was the devil really doesn't care about morality. It doesn't really care if you're super great or super bad or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you bow to Jesus and you do the things, the like hard things that he wants you
Yeah.
to do, that's what the devil hates most. And so I think with a lot of these messages and stuff, whether it's movies or whether it's music or whatever, they aren't bad messages.
Sure.
Like, I do think Oliver Tree's message of like, it's okay to be ugly and it's okay to be broken, I think that's a good message.
Sure.
I think that's a good thing. And that message itself is somewhat biblical in the sense of like, we are all broken.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's okay. But there's a very, they say that the devil kind of owns the fence in the sense of like, there has to be a conscious decision that has to be made if you want to give your life to Jesus. And so, lately I've been experiencing the freedom that Christ offers.
Right.
It's just a better mindset. It's just a healthier way to live. You know what I mean?
It's what you were made for.
Yeah. I truly, obviously sometimes I'll sleep in and all that
Sure.
stuff. Like my sleep schedule has been bricked lately. But deep down after everything and the way that I treat others, not to say that I'm some saint
Right.
or whatever, but just
You're experiencing
life.
it.
Yes, I am. And I think one of the things that a lot of these messages offer is they're not bad, but there's no freedom that comes along with it, because now you have labeled yourself as that thing, and there's nothing that redeems you from that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, I think you're talking up the right tree. I think, in a lot of ways, here's what I will say though. A lot of them aren't inherently bad. Like in what you're like, kind of what you're saying, right? Where you're like, none of them are saying like go kill babies, or like none of them are like stomp on the heads of dogs. You're like, dude, that would just be like, whoa, keep that over there. Like that's just bad.
Or they're not saying like Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. You know what I mean?
It's just the worst. And so, but to say that, I do think a lot of them are incomplete. So it's like, it's okay to be broken. Correct. If you have a savior who makes you complete.
Yes.
And here's the problem. A good thing that's incomplete is still a bad thing. And so here's what I mean by that. If you had a car and on the outside it looked like it looked like a great car.
Yeah.
And then its alternator was gone.
Yeah.
You're like, it's a good thing. I got a brand new car. I don't have an alternator. It's not going to run right. Yeah. And so it's a good thing that's incomplete is still a bad thing, because now you have to buy an alternator and get the car working. Yeah. So I'm like, well, a lot of these messages are close to truth. There is elements of truth. Because they're incomplete, they can't achieve what they want to achieve, which is the freedom you're talking about.
I see.
And so for them to be able to deliver on the promise of freedom, they need to be complete. They need to be completely good. Yes. Which requires the gospel. It requires Jesus' involvement. Yeah. And so, I don't know. Does that feel like, that's my take on what you just said. Yeah. But do you think that's close?
Yeah, no, I think you're like very much spot on. I mean, when are you not? But, I think like, I think like, if there was one thing that I kind of wanted to like preface is Brendan Ebner.
Yeah, GOAT.
You know Bren. We had a conversation a couple months ago, and I was like, dude, I feel so broken. You know what I mean? I feel so whatever. And he was like, this week, Avery, every little thing that you do, ask yourself why. Yeah. Out of every little purpose. And it's very easy when you're looking at something else to sit there and critique and be like, well, they don't do this and they don't do that and whatever. But true self-reflection, when you sit there and you ask yourself why you do a lot of things, I feel like I live a pretty okay Christ-centered life. Sure. And then you do that.
And you're like, oof.
And I'm like, Brent, I'm going to be honest, dude. I thought I was broken before. And now I'm like another level of broken. Yeah. But what that kind of does is it puts you in a mindset of like, I need something. Yeah. I need something. And obviously, I knew that Christ was my savior and stuff, but kind of that exercise of realizing that like the world is so incredibly broken. Do you know what I mean? Like if you could, like if I could sit down with Oliver Tree and I could be like, why do you do this?
Right.
And why do you do that? And why do you do every little
Just
thing?
keep going deeper, right?
Yeah. Like this person that gives a message that so many people revere and they respect, like he's failing and it's selfish. You know what I mean? And I think like the only true thing, you know, they say to build your house on the rock, not on the sand. So when things do come, you know, or when Kendrick Lamar says, you know, when stuff hits the fan, are you still a fan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is when things happen, you know what I mean, with all these people, you know, are they still fans of you? Like when something bad happens to Oliver Tree and whatever, right? He has to care about his own life. When bad things happen to Avery, he has to fix them in his own life.
Yeah.
But he's not a fan of me in that moment. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Christ, when stuff hits the fan in my life, he's always a fan of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so when I used to talk about Christ, sorry, I'm like, I'm going.
I love it.
I'll give you your spot.
No, dude, I love it.
But
Keep
I've
going.
learned, yeah, dude, I've learned so much lately of, when, oh my gosh, dude, I've gotten better at finding my train of thought, and I just lost it. Let me go back to what I was saying before. Is God is a fan of me. I got it. When I used to talk about God, I used to be like, that's my big homie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, for me, that's justified. But how that looks to others, they're like, God's your boy
What?
or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And so I truly have found lately that this world is so broken and I am so broken. And, like, I remember I was at a Stephen Gamoff Bible study and I was like, God's my big homie. But I truly have found now that, like, if I really want to live out what Christ wants me to live, I don't think that I can say that, even though that's true for me. And like, you know, I know that's the case. How you speak about him, you know what I'm saying? It demands a level of respect and reverence. And God is not my big homie. He is my Father in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, nothing I can say can ever live to something that divine. But one of the things I kind of wanted to ask you off that example is, smart people speak to be understood and ignorant people just speak to sound smart. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. When I talk to others about Christ and I, you know what I'm saying, like, where do you think the line is of like, I still want to revere God and speak about him incredibly, but I don't want to sound like entitled or like
a know-it-all or something.
Dude, it's like when I first started caddying and I walked onto Firestone for the first time and I just didn't like the place because it was a country club and I didn't come from that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Is like, in what ways do you think Christians can speak better in a sense? So it's not so like,
confusing.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, there's just a level of contextualizing that has to happen.
Yes.
I think honestly, here's like, if you want, I'll give you a practical one off rip. Sometimes just saying I don't have it all together.
Yeah.
It's like the number one thing you can do to prove you don't have it all together, because everybody else knows it. It's just whether you're willing to admit it or not.
Yeah.
And so,
and the reason for this question, obviously, you know, everything kind of in this episode has like related off the Oliver Tree thing.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, that message so many people love, but for some reason people don't love the message of Christianity for some lie or whatever reason. That's what this question is based on.
Right.
Is like, what areas of Christianity can we do a better job of
presenting?
Like, yes, exactly.
So this is the yeah. Okay. This is going to sound backwards when I say it. I think we need to shy away less from the like what it is. Like I think the reason people get Christianity confused or messed up or whatever is because we are scared to be honest about what it means and to follow Jesus. We're scared to say we live broken lives and Jesus came to save you, and he's going to radically transform your life. And what we want to do instead is we want to put a ton of sugar on it.
Yeah.
And we want to go, it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows. And like, you're going to feel great every single day. And you're like, that's not true. And Jesus doesn't say that. So I'm like, I think if you wanted me to say like, what's the one way we can make it more presentable? I think we have to present it.
Yeah.
And stop trying to make it sweet to the lips and hard to digest.
I see.
I'm like, just like, don't call a vegetable a piece of candy.
I see.
It's a vegetable, you know? And so we need to be honest about what it is. And the reality is where this flows out of, this is the hard part. This is the hard truth is we want everybody to know Jesus. Not everybody will know Jesus.
Yeah.
Simply put. But if we aren't plain about the message, we give nobody the chance. And if you sell somebody on a false message, they just bought the wrong thing anyways. So you're like, you want to buy this blanket, and you sold them a pillow. You're like, that's not what they needed, you know? So I think if we want to be, how do we present the gospel? We present it. We don't like say, oh, you know, God's kind of got your back once in a while. The Buddhist can say that. God's in your corner. The Muslims can say that.
Yeah.
The truth that Jesus Christ came and lived a perfect life and died an innocent death so that you and I could live free, only followers of Jesus can say that.
Yeah.
So I think we just gotta be plain.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic, dude. I think it's, you know, I used to be like, is the King James version whatever, and is the NIV version, and like, you know, do they represent
things?
Christianity? But I think instead of asking all those questions, it's just, if you can understand Jesus's character, and say, look, dude, like what you're experiencing and the brokenness that you're experiencing now, that's a part of it, dude.
Right.
We are on the
part
same
of the journey.
Team.
Right.
We're on the same team.
Same team.
You know what I mean? And like, I'm just trying to do what you're doing. Yeah.
Right.
And not, you know what I mean? And maybe I found a little something.
Yeah. Or a lot of something.
Or, you know.
Yeah, I would say a lot of something.
Yeah. One of the things that I have to start doing is I have to start getting like brain rot rage bait clips for the podcast, okay?
Yeah.
So just like go along with what I'm about to say.
All right,
okay?
got you.
So you wear like wife beaters, right? Have you ever like worn a wife beater?
Yeah.
Okay. And so like this is one of the things that I've really been contemplating lately is like, is this kind of a squares or rectangles or squares thing of like, do you think all wife beaters wear wife beaters? Or do you think wife beaters can wear wife beaters but aren't always wife beaters?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I think you can wear a wife beater without beating wives, but you can beat wives without wearing a wife beater. So maybe we should just call them tank tops. Have you seen the Cam Scatabo taco debate? Oh man, I'm about to get you locked in right now. Here you go. Mm-hmm. Do you turn your head to eat the taco, or do you turn the taco for your head? It's all about like.
I think that's applicable to kind of how we live our lives.
I think so. Like at the end of the day, like, do you get dominated by the taco, or does the taco dominate you? You know,
that's fire, dude.
So what about you? How do you eat your tacos?
I do the side crunch.
Well, I'm glad to know the taco dominates you.
Like
so.
Bro, but if you like turn it just. So what do you eat it like? The top of it?
If you're gonna be in control, you gotta lose things once in a while. And so,
dude, that's fire. Actually. Dude, and that's exactly what I wanted, bro. Yeah. Joseph, bro. Bro, we've been sitting down. If there's anything the two people still listening should know about, and I want you to use some like random names, so like maybe they can have like a coming together moment. Yeah. What do they need to hear?
Jeff, Carissa, you need to follow Jesus.
Carissa?
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
What's good, Carissa?
Carissa.
Sounds bad.
Yeah, but at the end, You have a lady, my friend. I'm
Sorry,
playing,
I'm chilling, I'm chilling.
But yeah, Jeff and
sorry.
Carissa, if you have not put your hope in Jesus, there's a good God who loves you, who made you, who designed you, who knows you, who's been with you every day of your life and has done nothing but surround and pray for you. He was not ignorant to the hard things that happen in your life. And the reality is when from 2,000 years ago, he came into this world, he lived a perfect life and died an innocent death, and then rose from the dead so that you would know he always wants to be with you. And you should find your Heavenly Father because he loves you.
That's fantastic, dude. And shout out Carissa. Listen, I was just like, you have a nice name, but like I have a girlfriend and she's wonderful.
Yeah,
And I love her.
don't
very,
hit up Avery. And don't hit up me.
much.
I mean, just like go find a good godly woman to be friends
Yeah,
with.
or text us and be like, do you have any friends?
Yeah.
Because we do have a couple godly friends that are very nice. And
Need a woman.
yeah,
So long as you've accepted Jesus first.
yeah, exactly.
Gang.
bro.
All right.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this has been 2G1C. Let's see. This is kind of fire. This is different. I don't know what this is. It just said outro, so we're rolling with it. Joseph, thank you for being here,
Thank
bro.
you, Avery. This is fun.
Dude, I love sitting down with you, bro.
We gotta make sure this keeps happening.
1,000,000%. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been 2G1C. We will see you next time.
See you next time.